Hello everyone, welcome to this tutorial where I will guide you through the process of creating an add to cart feature using Angular 17. My name is Ayaz Zafar and I am excited to share my knowledge and expertise in Angular development with you today. In this tutorial, we will dive deep into the Angular ecosystem, focusing specifically on building a practical and essential feature for any e-commerce application, the add to cart functionality. The add to cart feature is cornerstone of online shopping experiences. It allows users to select products and store their choices before making a purchase. This feature is not just about adding items to a cart, it's about creating an interactive and seamless user experience that keeps customers engaged and drives sales for online stores. Understanding how to implement this feature effectively is crucial for any developer working in the e-commerce space. Before we start, make sure you have a basic understanding of Angular, TypeScript, and general web development concepts. Familiarity with HTML, CSS, and JavaScript will also be helpful. If you are new to Angular, I recommend check out some introductory tutorials first to get up to speed. Let's kick things off by setting up the Angular 17 project. First, ensure you have the latest version of Node.js and npm installed on your machine. To check that, you just run the command node --version. This will give you the Node.js version, and npm --version will give you the npm version. Once that's done, open your terminal or command prompt and run this command to install Angular CLI globally. npm install -g angular/cli. Press enter and this would install it for you. I already have it installed, so I will not run it. Let me quickly show you the version that I am currently using. Use the command ng version, that will give you the detailed information about the versions. I'm using Angular CLI 17. Next, let's create a new Angular project by running the command ng new project name. Okay, this can be any name, whatever you prefer for your project. Once it is done, you can open that project in your editor. I already have created it, so I will not run it again. While you are running this command, follow the prompts to set up your project preferences. Once the setup is complete, navigate to your project folder and open it in your favorite code editor. I am using VS Code for this tutorial. Our project will need few dependencies to get started. For this tutorial, we will keep it simple. Now that our environment is set up, let's talk about the Angular project structure. When you open the project folder, you will see several directories and files. The most important ones for our purpose are the app directory in the source directory. This is where the core of our application lives. All our components, services, and models will be created here. So this is the assets folder. This directory is used for static assets like images, icons, and style sheets. Understanding this structure is crucial as it helps in organizing our code efficiently and makes it easier for other developers to understand and contribute to the project. Other than this, we normally also create the components folder in the app directory to save the all UI components of our application, like the product list and the shopping cart. And further, we normally create the services folder in the app directory where we will place our services which are used for data management and business logic, and such as cart service. So let's start building our application by creating the necessary components and services. We will need a component to display our products, and another for shopping cart, and a service to manage the cart's state. So let's begin with the components. Open your terminal or command prompt in your project's root directory and type this command: ng generate component/product list. Press enter. This creates a product list component where we will display our products. So you can see a components folder has been created, a product list component has been created that is holding all of the component files. Next, use ng generate component/cart. So this command generates a cart component that will show items added to the cart. Now let's create our cart service. For that, run the command ng generate services/cart. So this command will generate a service that we will use to handle operations related to the shopping cart, like adding or removing products. This is the basic cart service that has been generated for us. we will add our logic here later. This is the basic structure of our cart service. The injectable decorator marks it as a service that can be injected into other parts of our Angular application. Provided in root means that this service is available application wide. So we will add methods to this service to manage our shopping cart, like adding items, removing items, and calculating totals. So these methods will be used by our components to modify the cart's state. Now let's dive into the heart of our tutorial, implementing the add to cart feature. So this feature is essential in e-commerce sites, allowing users to select products they wish to purchase and add them to their shopping cart. The cart keeps track of these items until the user is ready to check out. It's vital for this feature to be intuitive and responsive, as it directly impacts the user's shopping experience. Our goal is to implement this functionality in a way that is simple, efficient, and user-friendly. First, we will set up a product list component to display our products. We will create a simple list products for this example. So each product will have a name, price, and add to cart button. In the real world application, this data would typically come from a backend service, but for us, for the simplicity, we will use a hard-coded list. So let's do that. Open up the product list component that we just generated. Go to the HTML file and let's start building some HTML for it. So first I need a div with the class product, and I need to wrap this product in the for loop of Angular. For that I will use the latest syntax of Angular 17 for using for loop. Okay, and here I will add let product of products. Okay, let's quickly define the products array in our component ts file. Here we will have a name of the product. This is a second product, and in this way you can have multiple products. Make sure to add the ID as well, because we are using ID in the HTML. All right. Now in the product tag, in the div element for the product, I will add h3 tag, and I will display the product name. Okay, let's display it quickly in the browser. We did not display it yet. So just to display it quickly, I will import it in my app component, standalone component. So here I will just import it, product list component. Now here I will display that. Okay, you can see we are displaying the names for all of the products. Now let's go back to the product list component and let's add other elements in it. So now we need to add the description in the p tag, and also we need to add the price. We don't have any description, so you can get rid of that. Next we need to add the add to cart button, and here I will add the click event that will call a function add to cart on click, and we will pass it the product. Now let's quickly add some styling here in the SCSS or CSS file that you have along with this component. I will add product, and the border is 1 pixel, solid, and padding is 10 pixels, margin bottom is 10 pixels. Okay, now let's try it. Let's quickly add the missing function in our component ts file to get rid of this error. Okay. All right, now you can see we have multiple products being displayed on our page. It is very simple, very basic, but you may have a better design or better functionality in your real world application. All right, now let's code the logic for adding items to the cart. We will do this in the cart service. So each time a user clicks to the add to cart button, we will call a method in the cart service to update the cart's state. So let's go back to the cart service, and here I will define a private property items is equal to empty array for now, and I will give it a type any array. Now I will add a function add to cart. So add to cart function will receive the product as a parameter, and we will push that parameter, that variable value into the items array, and I will add another function that will be get items. This will basically return all of the items in your cart. So in Angular, services like cart service are often used for state management. In our case, the cart service maintains the state of shopping cart. It keeps track of the products added to the cart and provides method to manipulate this state. So this service can be injected into any component that needs to interact with the cart, such as our product list and cart component. So now that we have our functionality in place, let's make our application look good. Styling is important aspect of web development, as it greatly influences the user experience. In Angular, each component has its own CSS files, which makes it easy to style components individually. So let's add some styles to our product list and cart component to make them more visually appealing. So let's go back to the CSS file of the product list. Let me increase the padding to 15 pixels. Margin button would also be 15 pixels. Border radius would be 4 pixels, and box shadow would be 0 pixels, 2 pixels, 4 pixel RGBA. Now let's quickly look at that. Now let's design the h3 tag. So margin top would be 0. After that, I want to design the button. So this button will have the background color that would be 007BFF, and color would be white. Border would be none. Padding would be 10 pixels, 15 pixels. Border radius would be 4 pixels, and the cursor would be obviously pointer. And let me add the hover effect on this button. So okay, now let's quickly try that. So this is now looking much better than before. So making our application responsive ensures it looks good on the devices of all sizes. So we will make some basic responsive design principles, such as using flexible grid layouts and media queries. For simplicity, let's add responsive grid layout to our product list component. So let us add a div around this one that is going to be products container, and now in the CSS I'm going to wrap it in that container, products container. And now let's add some design. Display grid and grid template columns, repeat, autofill, min max. Okay, next I need to add some gap. Grid gap is going to be 20 pixels to make it display block so that it could be expanded. Okay, host display block. Okay, and width should be 100%. This is how it is currently looking. It is in the vertically in the middle because I have already added some styles here in the app component. That's why it is in the, you may get rid of them if you want to. Look at the code again once more. So in the first code, we have added some basic styles to our product list component to make it look neat and professional. We have styled the product divs with a border, padding, and subtle shadow to give them depth. The buttons are styled with a background color, hover effect, and rounded corners for a modern look. In the second part, we have introduced a grid layout for our products. The grid template columns property with autofill and min-max creates a responsive grid that adapts to the container's width. Now let's put our add to cart feature into perspective with real-world e-commerce applications. In a full-scale e-commerce site, this feature is part of larger system that includes product catalogs, user accounts, payment processing, and more. The add to cart functionality we have covered can be integrated with these elements to build a complete shopping experience. For instance, cart state can be linked to the user's account, allowing them to save their cart and access it on other devices. Additionally, this feature can be expanded to include options like save for later or wish list, enhancing the user experience further. Let's quickly make it functional by using the cart component. So in the cart component, I should, as this is standalone component, I should import the list, product list item here, component here in this. And now instead of using this component in the app component, I will move it in the cart. and in the app component I will import the cart component instead, and here I will, instead of that, I will add app cart component. Now in the product list component, let's implement the add to cart function. So first of all, I need to inject the service that we created for the cart. Cart service is equal to inject cart service. Okay, make sure to import the inject function and the cart service that we generated earlier. This is the new way to inject the services. You may also try to use the constructor to inject the service. Now let's use it. So this dot cart service dot add to cart and pass the product that you are getting from the parameter. Now in the cart component here, let's inject the cart service. Let's inject the cart service again here, and now I'm going to access it here. So I'm displaying the content of the cart here, cart service dot get items. Okay, this will give me an array of items that we have in the cart, and I'm displaying through the JSON. So you can see that it has an empty array right now, but if I click on the add to cart, then it should update it in the real time. As you can see, it has added the product 1 in it. If you click on the second add to cart, it will add that product as well, and so on. Let's update the UI to display this content properly. Let me wrap it in the for loop. Item of cart get items track. So I have added these products and it is showing it here in this way. Let me make it a little bit stylish. So maybe I need to add the border here. Okay, now it is working. Let me add some padding around it. So here you can specify a word price. Okay, and on the right side I may want to add, or maybe on the bottom I can add a button that would allow you to delete it from the cart. Okay, and if user clicks on that, here I will pass the item that you want to delete from the cart. Now here I will define a function cart item, and from the cart I will call a function delete and I will pass the item. We still need to implement the delete function in the cart service. So let's go back to the cart service and define that function. Add the item any, and here I can remove it in this way. This dot items is equal to this dot items dot filter. If id is not equal to the item that we are receiving from the parameter, then we will filter it out. We will keep it, and if it is equal, then we will filter it out. Okay, so now let's save it. Okay, let's click on the delete button and you can see that it deletes the items in the real time. So let's delete this one. Now I want to be able to update the quantity. For that, in the cart service, let's update quantity, or you can say increment quantity. So when you add to cart, at that time we don't have the quantity property in it, so I want to add the quantity property as well. For that I will push the custom object, and I will spread the object that I'm getting from the parameter of the add to cart function, and then I will add the quantity 1 by default. And if you use the plus plus, that's mean now you are updating it. Increment quantity, I need to get the specific ID of that item so that I could find it and update it. So for that I can use this dot let item. So in this way I found the item that if this ID is equal to the ID of the item in the loop, then we will get that item, and then I will simply update the quantity of that item if item was found. Otherwise we will not do anything. And let's implement the same function for the decrement. This will do the same, just difference is that it will have the dash minus at the end. Okay, and also we can have a get total function as well. So this will add the price, multiply the price with the quantity of that item, give you the total. Okay, we are using the reduce function here. All right, now let's go back to the cart component, and in the HTML I can use all of these functions. So I also want to add the increment button. Okay, here you can directly use the service like cart service dot increment and give it item.id, and similarly here you can add the minus icon and use the decrement function instead. Right now the quantity is not visible. Let me add some styling to this button like gaps. Here I will add style, display flex gap 10 pixels. Okay, and let me get rid of this comment for now, and let's display the quantity as well. If you increase the quantity, you will see that number is increasing. And now let's display the total at the end. Okay, I'm calling the get total function that we just created on the cart service. Total is 0. If you add something, you will see that the number is increasing, it is adding. If you increase the quantity, then the price would be adjusted accordingly. If you remove the quantity, then it would be reduced automatically. And if you click on the delete, then the price would be adjusted again automatically. Well, while implementing this feature, you may encounter several challenges. So let's discuss some common issues and their solutions. State persistence. A common issue is the cart's state being reset when the page is reloaded. To solve this, you can use the browser storage solutions like local storage to persist the cart state across sessions. And second one is performance optimization. As the number of items in the cart grows, the performance can become an issue. Implementing lazy loading for the product list or using Angular's change detection strategies can help to improve performance. Handling errors. When integrating with backend services for product data or checkout processes, handling network errors is crucial. Make sure to implement error handling in your service calls to provide feedback to the user, like displaying error messages or retry options. User interface feedback. So providing instant feedback to users when they add items to the cart is important. You can implement this by using Angular's animations or simple CSS effects to highlight the changes in the cart. So let me quickly show you the example how you can persist the local storage, because right now if I reload it, you will see that the cart state has been destroyed. So to fix that, let's go to the service that we created, and here I can use this json.parse local storage get item cart items. Okay, so we are getting the cart items from the local storage, and as this is a string, so we are parsing it. Okay, next, when you add you make some changes in your cart, like if you add something to the cart, delete it or increment or decrement, then you should update the local storage as well. So for example, in the add to cart, I will update the local storage. So in this way, you will just set the items, pass the property name of the local storage and stringify the items and update the cart item in the local storage. Similarly, this will happen every time you make a change. So I will copy paste the same line in all of these functions at the end, so that after running the logic, every time it will make change in the local storage as well. Now I will show you. So look at this. I have added 2 products in the cart. Now I'm going to reload it. Even if I reload, even if you close the tab, you open it again, you will again see the items still there, so nothing is lost this time. Okay, so in this code we have modified our cart state. We have modified our cart service to use local storage for persisting the cart state. When the service is initialized, it attempts to load an existing cart from local storage. If none is found, it starts with an empty array like we added here. Each time a product is added to the cart, the add to cart method updates the local storage with the new cart state. This ensures that the user's card is saved even if they leave the site and come back later, like we just tested. As we wrap up this tutorial, let's quickly recap what we have covered. We started by setting up a new Angular 7 project and discussing the project structure. We then moved on to the creating essential components and services, focusing on the add to cart feature. We implemented the functionality to display the products, add items to the cart, and manage cart state. Along the way, we looked at the styling these components for a better user interface and making them responsive. Finally, we discuss real-world application of this feature and addresses common problems with practical solutions. To deepen your understanding of Angular and e-commerce application development, I recommend exploring the official Angular documentation, which is an excellent resource for e-commerce specific knowledge. Websites like Udemy, Coursera, and Pluralsight offer specialized courses. Don't forget to keep practicing and experimenting with different features and functionalities. If you found this tutorial helpful, then I encourage you to try implementing this feature in your own projects. Feel free to modify and expand upon what we have built here. Don't forget to subscribe my channel, like this video, and leave a comment if you have any questions or feedback. Your support is greatly appreciated and helps me create more content like this. Thank you so much for watching this tutorial. I hope it has been informative and helpful in your journey as a developer. Your engagement and feedback mean a lot to me. For those who are interested, stay tuned for my next tutorial where I will be diving into further topics of Angular. These are going to be exciting and informative sessions that I'm going to record in future. So make sure to subscribe to get notified when it's up. Until then, happy coding.